Okay, we're going to start a chapter on graphing, 7th graders, and we're going to be graphing on the coordinate plane. We did this a little bit last year, but the graph on the coordinate plane is the graph that goes on the grid, like the x-axis and the y-axis, the two numbers that give you a point on a graph. In this first lesson, we're going to go through a lot of terms. We're going to talk about the charts that give us those numbers and things like that. A chart or a data set, there are two numbers that go together, or a group of numbers that go together in some way. That's called a relation. Okay? A relation. Those two numbers are related in some way. Examples of those are like inches and feet. Okay? If you know how many feet you have, you can figure out how many inches that is. And those numbers are always related in that way. 1 foot equals 12 inches. Or 3 feet equals 1 yard. Or 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. Measurement is always a relation. Those numbers go together in a certain way. Okay? Another type of relation is called a function. And that's when every x value gives you one y value. So, feet and inches are an example of a function, because every time the feet changes, the number of inches also change. But not every type of relation is a function. And these are some examples, or this is an example of a set that is not a function. So on this set, we'll call it a relation, there are two types of numbers. The domain are all of the x values. The x values are called the domain of the relation. Okay? So if it asks you what is the domain of the function or of the relation, you would list, just like this, you would list all of the x values from a chart. And if it asks you for the range, then you would list the y values. The y values are called the range of the relation. Okay? So highlight those. The domain of this relation are 0, 1, and 2. And the range numbers are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? Now, this data set is not a function. Now, a function is when every x value has only one y value. That word is a function. Functions are sets of data where only an x value has only one y value. Okay? In this set, 0 and 1, it has 0 and 1, and 0, the number 0 only has one number in the range. But the number 1 has two values, 1, 2, and 1, 3. So if the number 1 is repeated, or if the number 1 has more than one value attached to it, then this relation is not a function. Now I know some of this that I'm saying sounds like a foreign language, because we're using all these new words that we're just going through right now, okay? But when you start to put these things together, domain, x values, range, y values, relation is this whole thing. This is called a relation. And then it starts to make sense a little bit. It takes a little while to sink in, but once you start using these terms, it will make more sense to you. Okay? Now, I want you to look at the graph of this. When we were if you were to graph this chart on a coordinate plane or on a coordinate grid, you would find that the number 1 over 1 and up 2 and over 1 and up 3 would give you 2 points on this graph that are right on top of each other. They're stacked. They're on a vertical line. You can draw a vertical line through both of them, right? That's a test that's listed on page 405 of your book called the vertical line test. And that test is used to see if this relation, if this set of numbers gives you a function. And if these two, if you can draw a vertical line through any 2 points, then it's not a function. If you can't draw a straight line, a vertical line, through any 2 points, then it is a function. Because every time you go over, you would go up a different, or every x value would only give you one y value. In this case, the x values have 2 y values. Now, I'll give you an example of something that is not a function, a situation that would give you something that's not a function. We already talked about, like, feet and inches. Converting feet and inches is a function, because every time you have a different amount of feet, that would give you a different amount of inches. Okay? Stop doing that, whatever. Okay? Now, let's say that we were talking about taking a survey and seeing those that studied a certain amount of time and what grade they get. Okay? Somebody might study just a little bit. Stop making the noises in your chair, okay? Thank you. Somebody might study a little bit and get an A. Somebody might study a little bit and get a D. If they studied the same amount of time and they got a different grade, then those 2 marks would be on a graph. They would be right up on top of each other. They would, that would be an example in this survey of something that is not a function. If the same x value gives you 2 different y values on a graph, then it's not a function. Okay? The grade you get is not a function of how much you study. Some people might study a lot and do really, really well. Some people might study a lot and just get an average grade. 2 different grades, study the same amount. That's an example of something that is not a function. Okay? Do you have any questions about any of these terms that we've talked about? Bryce?
I don't get the function.
A function is a situation when you do when the x number on a chart only has one y number attached to it.
But how do you know what how do you know what the chart is?
It'll give you the set of numbers, and you have to look at those numbers and tell whether it's a function or not.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Or if you list these numbers out, and let's say you're given a situation where you see that number 1, the x number 1, has a 2, and there's a point that has an x value of 1, and a number 3. Then you know, well, the number 1 has a 2, and the number 1 has a 3, and so this cannot be a function. Because those 2 points would be right up on top of each other on a graph. Okay? Emily? Relations will have a domain number and a range number because those two numbers will go together. Yes. Yep. A relation is any set of numbers that that fit together for some reason, like feet and inches, or yards and feet, or those numbers that that you use together. Okay. This assignment is going to help you review plotting numbers on a coordinate grid, on the coordinate plane, and the parts of the coordinate plane, the x and y axis. So the first thing you're going to do is graph the chart, the numbers from the chart. Graph the numbers from the chart. Okay? So on the chart, it gives you a set of values. -4 goes with 1. So the point -4, 1 goes on the graph, right? Take a look at the board. So let's review. When you're graphing on a coordinate plane, the x numbers are the numbers that tell you how far to go right or left. And that's always what you do first. Start at 0, go to -4, and then from there, go to the y value, 1. And mark that point. The first point is -4, 1. The x value is -4. The y value is 1. And so go to -4, 1. And mark that point. Then go to the next set of numbers. This set of numbers is called an ordered pair. Right? Go to 1, so write 1, and then up 3. To mark the second point. Then go to 4, 0. So go over 4 to the right, because that's +4. And then mark the line, because that you're just going up and down 0. Then go to 1, -2. Now, notice that the x value 1 has two different numbers, doesn't it? What are the two numbers, Brett? 3 and -2. And if we do a vertical line test, it's called, if you drew a vertical line, it goes through both of these points. These points are on the same vertical line. So there's two ways to tell if this is a function. Is this relation a function?
No.
No, look. See, this shows it's not a function, and the fact that 1, the number 1 on the domain, has more than 2 values. It has 3 and it has -2. So this is not a function, right? Not a function. And then underneath it, write the domain number 1 has 2 values. The The domain 1, in other words, the x number 1 has two values.
I get it now. Yeah, okay, next.
What are they?
-2 and 3.
-2 and 3. 1, -2, and 1, 3. Does that make sense? Do you see 1, -2? Do you see 1, 3? 1, 3, right here. You see that? Okay, so then this number that means that 2 points are on the same vertical line. Okay.
Cross country.
What is the set of y values called, class? These are the range numbers, yep. The range, what's the x values called? The domain. What is the whole group of numbers called? A what?
Function.
The set of the what? It's a relation. It's a set of ordered pairs. Any set of ordered pairs in one group is called a relation. Okay? Go to the other side. Emily?
Is it still a function if y has two values?
Yes. If y has two values, but all the x numbers only have one value, then it is still a function. Okay? That means that you'd have 2 points that are on the same horizontal line. And that's okay.
So it only applies vertically.
Right, it only applies vertically. Yep. So, the x numbers are the domain, the y numbers are the range, and graph them to see if this set, this relation, is a function. So, graph them on the coordinate plane. What you might notice already is that the -1 x number in the domain has two values again. So, is the first one a function?
No.
No, that is not a function. -1 has 4, and -1 has -2. Remember, always go left or right for the x value, and then go up and down for the y value. Using the vertical line test, you can see that there's 2 points on the same vertical line. Anytime you have 2 points on the same vertical line, you know it is not a function. The first one is not a function, for sure. The second one is a function.
It is how.
Because he told us. That's because
They're all different x values, so every x value has only one y value.
Okay.
None of the points line up on a vertical line. Oops.
Oh my.
Now, imagine that was not there, because I marked that one wrong. The second one is a function.
Working all the time, doing all I'm saying.
Okay? make sure that you explain. For the second one, how do you know it's a function?
Domain or range number has come down.
All right, the domain, in the domain, every domain number has only one range number. So none of the x values are repeated. And using a vertical line test, none of the dots are on a vertical line, except for the one that's not supposed to be there, which I can't erase because it's in ink. Okay? So none of these dots are on the same vertical line. Okay? Every x value has only one y value. Okay? Okay, go to the next section. In this one, you're just listing, it's for each relation, so this is a relation, but it's not organized the same way. Instead of being organized in a chart, it's just organized or written as a set of ordered pairs. Okay?
There's no domains there.
So, what would this one look like if it was in a chart? Well, you could just list them. 7, -2, 8, -2, -5, 7, -9, 1. Now notice that all of the x values are different. None of the x values have more than one y value. You don't have to put this in a chart. I'm just showing you that this chart or this group of numbers gives you one of these charts. That's where those numbers come from. And so you'll see them in different ways. You'll see them as a list of ordered pairs, like this, or you'll see them listed in a chart. It's called a T chart, or an XY chart. Okay? So if you're listing them, you put it in brackets like it's listed in your book. And then you list the values, 7, comma, 8, comma, -5, comma, -9. The domain are all the x values. Alex. What are the range? What's the range, Alex?
-2, -2, 7, and 1.
Right. Do you have to list -2 twice?
Yes.
No, actually you don't.
That's been
Okay? You only have to list the values. You don't have to list them as many times as they appear. So, -2, 7, 1. Okay? Now, is this a function?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Look at the x values. Look at the x values. All of them are different, which means that every x value has only one y value.
But there's two.
There's two y values, but that means that those two dots would be on the same horizontal line if you graphed it, not on the same vertical line. So, this is a function. Okay? Every x has only one y value. Okay? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Are you starting to get used to some of these words? Do Do you have any questions? Nate?
If there's in the X, if it's in the X column and there's, two numbers the same, is it not a function?
Correct.
And then in the Y, if there's two numbers the same,
It doesn't matter. If there's two numbers the same in the Y value, that does not matter. It only matters if there's two numbers that are the same in the X column or in the domain. Okay? Carson? Has one Y value. No, if every X value has only one Y value, so 7 does not have another number on the other side, right? 8 does not have a number on the other side, only one. -5 has only one value. -9 has only one value. So then this is a function. Any other questions? Those are both really good questions. Any other questions? Okay, finish. Oh, Darius.
How come in the range there's only 3 numbers?
Listen.
How come in the range there's only 3 numbers?
Why are there only 3 numbers?
Oh,
Those are the only 3 given. So usually you'll be given a set of values when you're asked to tell if it's a function. Sometimes you'll have to choose the numbers and then find the other set of numbers that go with them. And we'll be doing more of that later on. Alex?
So for number 4, like since there's 2 10s for the domain, do you have to write it twice since it's in the domain?
No, you don't have to write it twice when you're listing them.
subscribe to Ty Fast Break.
Okay.